Have you ever found yourself completely caught off guard by someone's behavior? Or maybe even your own?
No, definitely.
You think you know them or yourself, right? And then suddenly it's just confusion, helplessness almost.
Yeah, like they hit you with some really elaborate story or
Or you say something totally out of character and you're thinking, why did I just say that? It feels like these inescapable patterns.
like some unseen force is kind of compelling us to just relive the same stuff over and over. It's that unsettling feeling, isn't it?
It really is that I just don't get it moment.
When things just don't add up and you're trying to figure out what's really going on underneath it all.
Exactly. And that's precisely why today's deep dive is, well, kind of your shortcut to unlocking those hidden forces of human nature.
Yeah, we're going to try and crack open this huge storehouse of knowledge. We're pulling insights from psychology, neuroscience, philosophy.
Literature, too, and even looking at historical figures, all to give you some clarity, hopefully, and practical tools to navigate, well, a world that keeps pleasing us.
Our mission really is to help transform your perspective. The idea is you'll become a calmer, maybe more strategic observer of people.
Freeing yourself from some of that emotional drama.
Right. And just as importantly, starting to recognize how these deep forces work inside you. That gives you the power to actually change your own negative patterns, hopefully.
So get ready to go beyond just what happens to really understanding why it matters. We want to equip you with some genuinely surprising facts and some real practical wisdom.
We'll get into why true rationality isn't really our default setting.
How you can literally, well, see through people's masks by reading those unspoken cues.
Explore the hidden shadows that drive all of us.
And discover how cultivating a real sense of purpose can, actually transform your destiny.
Okay, so that initial confusion we feel about why people act the way they do or why we do,
Yeah.
what's really going on under the hood.
Yeah, we all tend to believe we're fully in control, don't we? Driving our own actions. But is that really true?
Which brings us to this illusion of conscious control. We assume our behavior is mostly conscious, mostly willed,
That we're always in the driver's seat.
but let's say, the brutal reality is we're subject to these powerful forces deep within us, operating way below our conscious radar.
We see the results, the thoughts, the moods, the actions.
But we have very little conscious access to what truly compels us. What's fascinating is we often think we know why, but it's usually just a story we tell ourselves, right? A convenient narrative.
That's so true. Like, take anger.
Right. When we feel it, our first instinct is usually blame. Blame that person, blame that group.
But if you dig just a little,
Those triggers often have deeper roots, maybe from childhood or specific circumstances we're just not thinking about in the heat of the moment.
we might see a pattern intellectually like, oh, when X happens, I tend to get angry.
But in the moment, we're not reflective. We just, ride the wave of emotion and point fingers.
And that applies across the board, doesn't it? Confidence, insecurity, anxiety.
Even attraction. That powerful pull, it feels so immediate, so now. But the origins can be hidden pretty deep.
And for, gosh, thousands of years, humanity was pretty much just groping in the shadows with this stuff.
Totally. Relying on myths, like something came over me, or imagining these dark impulses came from spirits or demons.
We've sort of denied our more primitive animal roots. We prefer thinking we came from angels, not primates.
And that denial, well, it made it incredibly easy for people to get away with some pretty unpleasant behavior, didn't it? Without having to face the real source.
Yeah, you didn't have to take responsibility.
Exactly. But that's where the breakthrough really happens for us now. We have this sheer weight of knowledge.
From all these different fields.
Yeah, vast literature in psychology. Think Melanie Klein on early development, Carl Jung on the shadow self,
Neuroscience, too. People like Antonio Damasio on the brain.
studies of primates, like Franz de Waal's work, plus insights from philosophers, novelists. It all comes together.
It allows for what Robert Greene calls a brutally realistic appraisal of who we are.
Right. So we can operate with much greater awareness. It's like finally getting a decent flashlight in a really dark room.
Okay, so if we're not fully in conscious control, how do we start to, master our emotional selves? This leads us to what's often called the law of irrationality.
You imagine yourself in control, planning your life.
But your emotions, they often dominate. They make you lean towards ideas that just soothe your ego, make you feel good.
And subtly, they make you seek out evidence that confirms what you already believe. It's like an internal echo chamber.
This is that classic confirmation bias.
It really is. And the surprising thing is, even really smart people, designing really high-stakes plans, they'll unconsciously gravitate towards information that confirms a positive outcome.
It's like a consultant's nightmare, right? Clients hire you.
But often, all they really want is for you, the expert, to just confirm their own ideas.
And the more powerful the person.
The stronger and more dangerous this bias can become. It literally warps how they see reality.
And then there's this other thing, conviction bias.
Yeah. That's where we vehemently defend ideas that secretly please us, often mistaking that sheer emotional energy, that heat, for actual truth.
You see leaders, maybe, using heated words, dramatic gestures. They seem more certain.
While nuance just looks like weakness, it makes us really susceptible to charismatic salespeople or demagogues who wrap half-truths in drama.
They bypass our critical thinking entirely.
Exactly. It's surprising, but the ancient Greeks actually had an ideal for this, Athena.
Right, the goddess.
She was invoked as this spirit of practical rationality, the idea which she instilled calm and oriented minds towards, well, winning practical results.
So she represents a kind of higher power within us, a potential for clarity.
That's the idea, a potential for focus. But our minds are often, weighed down with emotion.
Like the Athenian leader Pericles, he seemed to embody this.
He really did. He stayed incredibly calm and rational when everyone was calling for war with Sparta. He proposed this novel defensive strategy even when the public was super enthusiastic about fighting.
He saw emotions as needing to serve thinking, not secretly drive it.
Which was a radical idea then, and maybe still is now.
So how do we cultivate this rationality? Is it possible? It sounds like a big task.
Fortunately, it's not impossible. It's more like a three-step process, really.
Okay, step one.
Become aware of what we can call low-grade irrationality. These are those constant background moods and feelings.
The subconscious stuff.
Yeah, that subtly but powerfully skew your thinking. They create these deep biases you don't even notice. Just recognizing them lets you start to counterbalance their effects.
Okay, so awareness first. What's step two?
Beware the inflaming factors. These are the high-grade emotions, sudden anger, intense excitement. They're explosive.
Often sparked by something external.
Right. And the surprising thing isn't just that they're intense, but they literally narrow your focus, your perception tunnels.
Making you blind to other options.
Exactly. Solutions that seem obvious when you're calm just vanish. It's like your primitive emotional brain just takes over, leading to rash actions, reactive tunnel vision.
And the third step, the strategies.
This is where you actively question your emotions. Ask yourself, why this anger right now? Where's this need for attention coming from?
Thinking for yourself instead of just reacting.
Precisely. Entertaining a wider range of options, deliberately taking longer to decide. Your mind becomes more flexible, more resilient. You start seeing solutions others miss.
It's a real shift from being a passenger to being the pilot.
It is. And it's crucial to remember, progress hasn't just wiped out irrationality.
Right, history shows these cycles.
Constant cycles of rising and falling irrationality.
Yeah.
We saw it after Pericles, after the Renaissance. We see it today. Rationality is something you acquire individually.
It's not a mass movement or a tech fix.
No. And feeling superior to it, thinking, oh, I'm modern, I'm beyond that.
Yeah.
That's often the surest sign the irrational is actually working powerfully within you. It's a constant personal effort.
Okay, so we're starting to get a handle on our own hidden depths, how emotions steer us. What about everyone else? How do we navigate a world where people present these curated images?
Ah, yes. Seeing through the masks, the law of role-playing.
We humans are consummate actors, aren't we?
Absolutely. Constantly wearing masks to present ourselves in the best light, humble, confident, diligent, whatever fits.
We learn to hide the insecurities, the envy.
And if we just take that appearance as reality, we never truly know people. And we risk being blindsided when their real feelings or intentions suddenly pop out.
It's interesting that the word personality comes from persona, the Latin for mask.
It is. And wearing a public mask isn't inherently bad, It has a positive function too.
Protection.
Protection, yes. And it can help you accrue influence, power. The better you play your required role, paradoxically, the more freedom you might eventually gain to express your unique self without negative consequences.
So sometimes you need the mask to eventually take it off.
In a way, yes. But the good news for observers is the mask always has cracks.
People leak things.
Constantly. They leak out their true feelings, their unconscious desires through nonverbal cues they just can't completely control.
Facial expressions, voice tone.
Body tension, nervous gestures. It's like a whole second language being spoken all the time. You just have to learn to read it.
And this isn't just theory, right? Milton Erickson, the hypnotherapist.
A masterclass. Paralyzed young, couldn't talk much, so he just watched intensely.
Absorbing body language, breathing patterns.
Subtle gestures. He learned that nonverbal stuff has to be felt physically.
Yeah.
It connects to our animal nature, those mirror neurons that help us sense and sometimes even mimic others' feelings.
He literally learned to feel what they were feeling.
Amazing, isn't it? So how do we cultivate these skills ourselves?
First step seems to be recognizing our own self-absorption. We miss so much because we're stuck in our own heads.
True. Then it's about deliberately opening your senses, trying to absorb the other person's physical energy, registering their expressions almost like an internal sensor tuning in.
You mentioned mirroring, consciously mimicking gestures.
Yeah, it's surprisingly effective. Subtly mirroring gestures, nodding slightly, matching a smile, it can build rapport quite quickly. It appeals to people's innate narcissism. You become their reflection.
And establishing a baseline, what someone's usually like.
Crucial. Mark Antony, usually jovial, suddenly went silent and sullen after Caesar's death. His rival Octavius knew immediately something hostile was brewing because it was such a deviation.
So, observe people in different contexts, with their spouse, their boss.
Exactly. See their range. That way, deviations really stand out.
And context matters too, right? When people are stressed, tired.
Or drunk, frustrated, angry.
Hmm.
Their guard is down. In those moments, they're often more themselves than ever. It's a window.
What about detecting deception? People trying to hide things.
Deceivers instinctively try to distract you, often with their words or exaggerated facial expressions. So look for tension in the parts they can't easily control.
Like what?
An overly expressive mouth but tense eyes. Exaggerated hand gestures but unusual stillness in the legs or torso. It signals something contrived.
Like Chancellor Merkel noticing Sarkozy's jiggling foot despite his dominant act.
Perfect example. Revealed his insecurity. Sometimes, the most clever deceivers present an almost bland, overly controlled exterior. Think Bernie Madoff. Almost too much control, designed to lull suspicion.
Fascinating. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. The shadow within. Aggression, self-awareness, Freud's idea.
Right. Freud noted that this powerful desire for aggression has to be reckoned as part of their endowment. We like to think we're peaceful.
But that raw energy is in all of us.
Undeniably. And it exists on a spectrum, this energy.
It can be positive, assertiveness, boldness.
Absolutely. The drive to achieve. Or it can be really negative antisocial behavior, cruelty. The key thing is we're all somewhere on that spectrum, and we could slip towards the negative side.
Often without realizing it.
Often. And here's where it gets really interesting for our own lives. When we repress that assertive energy, maybe we fear failure, conflict, disapproval.
It turns inwards.
Exactly. It creates this internal saboteur that actually dampens our mental powers, thwarts creativity. We start limiting our ideas to only safe, conventional options. It's like putting yourself in a box.
Carl Jung called this the shadow, right? All the stuff we deny.
All the qualities we deny and repress, operating unconsciously, it bursts out in those emotional outbursts when our usual self-control just vanishes.
And deep resentments or hurtful words suddenly appear.
The person might blame stress or tiredness, but really, powerfully, the shadow has spoken. It's the raw, unedited truth forcing its way out.
You see a kind of release for this culturally, don't you? Our fascination with villains in movies or gossip about public figures getting shamed.
It's a relatively harmless outlet, yeah. It relieves the tension of always having to play the angel in our own lives. We get to watch the dark side from a safe distance.
But more dangerously, we can be drawn to leaders who express the hostility we secretly feel.
Very dangerously. Demagogues tap into that. They stir up fears, insecurities, desires for revenge. They give the group permission almost to project all its negativity onto scapegoats.
Richard Nixon is often used as an example here.
His particularly thick shadow, as it's been put, constantly pushing staff for negative press on opponents, wanting nut cutters for dirty work. All driven by this deep anxiety about his public image. His internal struggle played out on the world stage.
So the solution isn't more repression, trying harder to be nice.
Oh, quite the opposite. It's radical self-awareness. We need to integrate that dark side productively, creatively, channel the energy.
Like Steve Jobs, his rough shadow side was part of his power.
Inextricably interwoven with his power and creativity, yes. He didn't deny it. He leveraged it. For ourselves, we need to look for indirect signs, really one-sided traits, those sudden outbursts.
And maybe ask others. Be brave enough to hear it.
That takes courage, but yes, others often see our shadow much more clearly than we do.
Okay, this next point feels huge. Character is destiny.
Profound, isn't it? Our character, Formed early on and shaped by daily habits, it compels us to repeat actions, fall into the same negative patterns.
The stark truth. People never do something just once. They will inevitably repeat their behavior.
It runs deep. And we're often shockingly bad at judging character, aren't we?
We fall for those optical illusions. Confidence hiding arrogance.
Frankness hiding boorishness, prudence hiding timidity, and charm and flattery, they can totally blind us.
We tend to overestimate our own skills too, right? Have a slightly inflated self-opinion.
Very common. Michael Eisner's fall at Disney, for instance. That inflated self-opinion made him ignore reality, make terrible calls like Euro Disney. He was trapped in his own positive narrative.
So for self-protection, it's vital to recognize some common toxic types, like the hyper-perfectionist or micromanager.
Ugh, yes, they micromanage because of deep dependency issues, deep mistrust. Howard Hughes is a classic example. Thought he was a genius businessman.
But was an irrational micromanager.
Businesses losing money, covered by inheritance. And he'd conveniently disappear or fall ill when projects failed. Their need for control actually creates vulnerability and resentment all around them. It backfires.
Okay, then there's the pampered prince or princess.
They draw you in with this regal air, expecting to be looked after. But when they don't get their way...
Baby like pouting?
Tantrums? Exactly. Eisner fits here too, perhaps. That need for adoration, stemming from childhood pampering, led to the inflated self-opinion and the failures. It's a cycle. Grand expectations, bitter disappointment when reality doesn't comply.
What about the resentful attitude?
These are people who, maybe from childhood, felt they didn't get enough love or attention, so now they're constantly scanning for disrespect.
Taking everything personally. Seeking revenge.
Subtly or overtly, yes.
Yeah.
Think of the Roman Emperor Tiberius holding on to resentments for decades, retreating to Capri. People actually celebrated when he died, which tells you something.
So if you see that tendency in yourself...
The antidote is huge. Learn to genuinely let go of hurts. Stop seeing everything personally, and earn respect through real achievement, not demanding it.
And finally, the aggressor's trap.
Chronically aggressive people. They just cannot handle criticism, have this excessive need for control. They're relentless.
Almost addicted to aggression.
It seems that way. If they step back, it's usually just tactical, momentary. They're trapped by their past patterns. We have to be realistic, not naive, about expecting real change without deep work on their part.
But here's the hopeful part, right? Where we're not slaves to this early conditioning.
Absolutely not. You can actively shape your character. Joan Crawford is an amazing example, scarred by poverty, abandonment.
She ruthlessly examined her flaws. Hypersensitivity, pain, need for love.
And transformed them into strengths. Connected deeply with audiences, became a director's dream collaborator. You can treat your character like clay. Work with it. Turn weaknesses into unique strengths.
That leads us beautifully into the final law, maybe the most elevating, the pursuit of purpose.
Yes. What happens without it? Without a strong sense of purpose?
Inner chaos, lack of cohesion, just wandering.
Yeah, and being prone to addictions, distractions, just to numb the pain or boredom. Avoiding responsibility, avoiding difficult things. It leads to this background hum.
This low-grade, continual anxiety.
Exactly. Anton Chekhov's story is so inspiring here. Young man felt trapped, worthless.
But then he immersed himself in work, tutoring, writing.
And realized, hey, I actually like this challenge. I'm succeeding. He found freedom, a different way of looking at the world, a change in attitude. He learned to get outside himself through his work. That became his purpose.
It literally changed his inner state.
Profoundly. So a strong sense of purpose really is an antidote to that anxiety. It gives direction, reduces depression.
Lets you contribute to something bigger than yourself.
Which leads to deep, sustained fulfillment. It's about building something beyond just, your own immediate needs.
Which brings us to practical grandiosity. That sounds like a contradiction.
It does. But it's about grandiosity based on reality.
Yeah.
Channeling that powerful energy, that ambition, into actual work, developing skills, solving problems.
Tied to real achievements.
So you feel genuinely enlarged through contribution, not just through fantasies or wishful thinking, making your impact real.
How do we cultivate that? Step one is facing our own grandiose needs.
Yes. Admit the desire for importance, for superiority. Denial is the enemy here. The counterintuitive path to real achievement isn't suppressing that drive for greatness.
But consciously channeling it away from fantasy into creation.
Exactly. Then concentrate that energy.
Yeah.
Deep focus on single projects. Break them down into mini steps. You want to get into that state of flow.
Where you're totally absorbed, time disappears.
Yes, and third, this is key, embrace the tedium. Embrace deadlines.
Frustration isn't failure.
Often it's a sign of progress. Your mind is becoming aware of higher skills needed. And manufacturing reasonably tight deadlines actually intensifies purpose and forces you to raise your skill level. It creates positive pressure.
We also need to avoid false purposes, right? Things that seem like purpose but aren't.
Crucial. Like the simple pursuit of pleasure. It just leads to diminishing returns. You need more and more stimulus for less effect. It's a chase.
What about causes and cults?
They often have vague goals, find easy enemies. They offer emotional release, a sense of belonging.
But at the cost of individual thought, critical thinking,
Usually, yes, a high price.
and attention or fame, especially now with social media.
A particularly insidious one. It ties your whole self-worth to external validation, to likes and shares. You become completely dependent on the applause of others. It's a hamster wheel, so the true reward of purpose, it's being fundamentally on a mission.
Realizing your life's work, contributing to something larger.
And that brings moments of profound fulfillment that sustain you way beyond fleeting pleasure or likes.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot. We've journeyed through these intricate laws of human nature. The hidden forces, the masks, the shadows, the power of character and purpose.
It's a lot to take in, definitely, but it's all interconnected, isn't it?
And the key takeaway really is that this isn't just about analyzing famous people or historical events.
No, it's profoundly about understanding you. Your own psychology, your tendencies, your potential to actually shape who you become.
Okay, so here's a final thought to leave everyone with. Something maybe provocative to chew on.
Right.
The ultimate test of all this understanding, and maybe the deepest chance for transformation, lies in confronting our own mortality.
Facing death.
Yeah, like the writer Flannery O'Connor found when she was facing a terminal illness. Accepting the uncertainty of death, the inevitability of pain, it can be this incredible call to action.
How so?
It teaches us to really anchor ourselves in the present, to appreciate every moment truly, and to strip away all the petty concerns that plague us and plague others.
That shared vulnerability. The brotherhood and sisterhood of death, as it's been called.
It can melt away our differences, our self-absorption. It can cultivate this profound, generalized empathy for everyone.
So by truly embracing the reality of death,
Ironically and powerfully, we affirm life itself.